Welcome to the Midnight Mind. If this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button. And please don't forget to like the video, it really helps me out. It's midnight, and tonight we step inside the mind of Carl Jung. You've been taught all your life to chase the light, to present your best face to the world, to be polite, to be positive, to be good. And you've probably told yourself that this is the way to grow, that growth means eliminating the darker parts of yourself, replacing them with something brighter, cleaner, more acceptable. But Carl Jung warned us that this obsession with light is an illusion, because the parts of yourself you deny don't disappear. They don't dissolve in the glow of your good intentions. They sink. They slide into the depths of your unconscious and wait. Jung called this the shadow, the part of your psyche where all the traits you refuse to see in yourself are stored. He said, knowing your darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people, and that is why we are here. Because until you know your darkness, you will never understand why you keep repeating the same mistakes, attracting the same patterns, falling into the same traps. You will never understand why you react with rage or jealousy or shame when you least expect it. You will never understand why life feels haunted, as if something unseen keeps pulling your strings. You think you've buried these parts of yourself, but you haven't. They're only hidden from sight. And what is hidden controls you more than what is visible. Look at your own life. How many times have you said to yourself, I don't know why I did that. That's not me. How many times have you seen someone else explode in anger or spiral into self-destruction and thought, I would never do that? But Jung would say, yes, you would. Under the right circumstances, yes, you could. The darkness isn't out there in other people, it's in you. And the longer you refuse to look at it, the more power it has over you. We live in a world addicted to appearances. Social media rewards us for curating an image of perfection. Families reward us for behaving, for not making trouble, for fitting into their expectations. Workplaces reward us for being professional, polished, controlled. Everywhere you turn, the message is the same. Hide the mess, hide the flaws, hide the darkness. But this hiding comes at a cost, because what we bury doesn't stay buried, it leaks out. It surfaces in slips of the tongue, in sudden outbursts, in the way you treat people you claim to love. It appears in the dreams you try to forget, in the fantasies you won't admit, in the envy that eats at you in silence. And if you refuse to face it, your shadow will grow darker and more destructive. Jung said that the shadow is 90% pure gold. At first, that sounds strange. How could the worst parts of you, the anger, the envy, the selfishness, the cruelty, be gold? But here is what he meant. The shadow is not only the dark you fear, it is also the power you suppress. Your courage, your assertiveness, your sexuality, your creativity, your raw vitality. All of these can be trapped in the shadow if you decide they're unacceptable. Think about how many times you've silenced yourself out of politeness. Think about how many times you held back your desires out of fear. Think about how many times you denied your ambition because you didn't want to seem arrogant. Every one of those moments took a piece of your strength and pushed it into the shadow. And now, all of that energy waits in the dark. The problem is that what you don't own owns you. If you don't acknowledge your aggression, it comes out as cruelty. If you don't accept your sexuality, it emerges in twisted, destructive ways. If you don't admit your ambition, it turns into envy that poisons your relationships. Denied traits become distorted traits, and the more you deny, the more distorted they become. This is why Jung told us to know our own darkness, not to glorify it, not to indulge it, but to recognize it. Because when you recognize it, you take back control. You stop being a puppet of impulses you don't understand. You stop projecting your disowned traits onto others, hating them for what you can't face in yourself. You stop running from the mirror. It takes courage to do this, more courage than chasing the light, because it means admitting that you are not pure, not innocent, not entirely good. It means admitting that inside you there are selfish urges, violent fantasies, shameful desires. It means admitting that you are human, and that humanity is not clean. But the reward is immense, because once you know your own darkness, no one can use it against you. Once you accept your flaws, your wounds, your shadows, you stop being blackmailed by them. Once you stop running from what you are, you become whole. And wholeness is what Jung wanted for all of us. Not perfection, not purity. Wholeness. The ability to stand in the light without denying the dark. The ability to live without masks, without fear, without the exhausting effort of pretending. So the question is this: how long will you keep denying your shadow? How long will you keep pretending that your darkness belongs only to others? How long will you let fear of what you might find keep you from becoming who you truly are? Because until you turn and face it, you will remain a stranger to yourself. And it's only when you know your own darkness that you can finally begin to live. The shadow doesn't announce itself. It doesn't knock politely and ask to be seen. It slips in quietly, showing up in ways that you barely notice. It disguises itself in your habits, in your relationships, in the people you can't stand. Jung said that what you hate most in others is often what you refuse to see in yourself. And if you've ever wondered why certain people irritate you instantly, even without reason, the answer may not be them. It may be you. They are mirrors reflecting back the traits you've buried, the qualities you've disowned. Their arrogance stings because you've suppressed your own ambition. Their selfishness enrages you because you've denied your own needs for too long. Their anger frightens you because you've never faced your own. This is projection, the psychological defense where we push unwanted parts of ourselves onto others. Instead of admitting, "I'm jealous," we say, "They are envious of me." Instead of admitting, "I'm capable of cruelty," we call others monsters. We create villains outside ourselves so we don't have to confront the villain within. And the more you project, the blinder you become. You walk through life fighting shadows you think belong to other people, never realizing that you are fighting your own reflection. Think about relationships. How many of your conflicts repeat the same script? How many times do you find yourself with people who treat you the same way, who hurt you in the same pattern? You call it bad luck, coincidence, fate. But Jung would say it's your shadow, calling for your attention. If you're constantly betrayed, maybe it's because you've buried your own dishonesty, or your own capacity for manipulation. If you are constantly disrespected, maybe it's because you've repressed your own aggression, your own ability to stand tall. If you are constantly abandoned, maybe it's because you've denied the part of yourself that pushes people away. Your shadow repeats itself in your life until you face it. It creates patterns not to punish you, but to wake you up, to show you what you've denied. And society itself is built on shadow. Nations demonize other nations, painting them as evil, corrupt, dangerous, while ignoring the same corruption and violence within their own borders. Communities ostracize outsiders for being immoral while hiding the same immorality inside their walls. Families point fingers at the black sheep while burying their own dysfunction in silence. The collective shadow is no different from the personal one. We project it outward, so we don't have to confront it inward. But just like the personal shadow, the collective one grows stronger the more we deny it. Wars, prejudice, witch hunts, scapegoating. All of these are societies battling their own darkness in the wrong place. And in your own life, you do the same. You blame the world, you blame others, you blame circumstances, when in reality, it is your shadow you are fighting. The truth is uncomfortable. You are not just the victim of life, you are also the saboteur. You are not only the betrayed, you are also capable of betrayal. You are not only the innocent, you are also the guilty. Until you admit this, you will never truly understand yourself. But here's where it gets more complicated. The shadow is not only the trait you fear, it is also the trait you long for but have forbidden yourself. It is the confidence you never expressed, the sexuality you never embraced, the power you never dared to claim, the creativity you buried because someone told you it was foolish. And so your shadow isn't just darkness, it is light that has been exiled. Every time you refused to shine because you feared rejection, you pushed your brilliance into the shadow. Every time you silenced yourself because you feared being judged, you buried your truth there too. This is why Jung said the shadow is 90% gold, because inside it is not only the worst of you, but also the best of you. Not only the destructive urges, but also the suppressed gifts. Imagine what you've lost by hiding these parts of yourself. Imagine the vitality, the courage, the depth of creativity that has been locked away because you wanted to be good, safe, acceptable. The shadow doesn't just hold your demons, it holds your potential. But as long as you refuse to face it, it leaks out in twisted ways. Creativity becomes chaos. Confidence becomes arrogance. Power becomes manipulation. Because the shadow will express itself whether you like it or not. The only question is whether it comes out consciously or unconsciously. This is why so many people feel haunted by their own lives. They don't understand why they sabotage themselves, why they destroy relationships, why they can't stop repeating mistakes. It's not fate, it's not bad luck. It's their shadow, pulling the strings they refuse to cut. And if you look closely, you can see your shadow in the moments you least expect. It's in the sarcasm that slips from your mouth before you can stop it. It's in the envy you feel when someone succeeds. It's in the rage you unleash when you finally can't take it anymore. It's in the dreams that disturb you at night, the fantasies you hide, the thoughts you would never dare to speak aloud. You tell yourself, that's not me, but it is. It's the part of you you tried to bury, and the more you deny it, the louder it becomes. Jung understood this better than anyone. He saw that the human mind is not divided into good and bad, light and dark, pure and impure. It is one whole. And when you split yourself in two, pretending you are only light, the darkness doesn't disappear. It grows in power, waiting for the moment you least expect to show its face. This is why knowing your own darkness is essential, because until you face it, you will be controlled by it. You will keep fighting it in others, hating them for what you refuse to see in yourself. You'll keep running from it, only to find it waiting for you in every corner of life. The shadow is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It is the part of you that will not let you rest until you acknowledge it. And if you resist, it will torment you. But if you face it, it will free you. So look carefully at the people who provoke you. Look at the patterns that repeat. Look at the urges you deny, the fantasies you suppress, the dreams that disturb you. All of these are doors to your shadow, and every door you open brings you closer to yourself. It's not easy. It requires honesty, humility, and courage. But until you do it, you are only half alive. And the world doesn't need half of you. It needs the whole. Facing your shadow is not about becoming darker. It is about becoming whole. Jung called this individuation, the process of integrating every part of yourself so you no longer live divided, pretending to be only light, while secretly ruled by what you refuse to admit. Individuation begins the moment you stop running, when you finally turn toward the things you've spent your life avoiding, the shame, the envy, the fear, the hidden desires, and say, this too is me. Not all of me, not the only me, but still me. Because the shadow is not the enemy. The shadow is the part of you that has been exiled. The child who was told not to be angry. The teenager who was shamed for wanting too much. The adult who silenced their ambition because others called it arrogance. All of these selves live inside you, waiting to be acknowledged. And until you acknowledge them, they control you. Integration means pulling them out of the dark. It means admitting, yes, I am capable of anger. Yes, I am capable of selfishness. Yes, I am capable of cruelty, of weakness, of failure. It means owning the truth that you are not pure, that you are not above the instincts you judge in others, that under the right circumstances, you too could do terrible things. And strangely, this admission doesn't make you more dangerous, it makes you safer. Because the person who knows their darkness no longer needs to project it onto others. They no longer live in denial, waiting for the shadow to explode when they least expect it. They hold it, they contain it, they choose consciously what to do with it. Think of someone who has faced their anger. They don't erupt at small provocations. They don't fear conflict. They know their capacity, so they don't need to prove it. Now think of someone who has never faced their anger. They repress it, they deny it, and then one day they explode, shocking everyone, including themselves. Which of the two is truly more dangerous? Knowing your own darkness doesn't mean indulging it. It means recognizing it. It means holding it in the light of consciousness so it no longer controls you from the shadows. And once you do, something incredible happens. The energy you once wasted on denial returns. The courage you suppressed, the creativity you buried, the power you feared, all rise up to meet you. Because the shadow doesn't just contain your darkness, it contains your potential. This is why Jung called it gold. Because when you recover the parts of yourself you rejected, you recover your wholeness. But integration requires more than insight. It requires practice. It means learning to pause when your shadow stirs, to observe instead of react. The moment you feel jealousy, admit it. The moment you feel envy, own it. The moment you feel rage, don't push it down, acknowledge it. Bring it into the light and then decide what to do with it. This decision is what makes you free. Because as long as you deny, you don't have a choice. Denied impulses leak out unconsciously. But once you face them, you can act with intention. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Think about that. How much of your life have you blamed on fate, on luck, on chance? How many of your failures, your conflicts, your disappointments have you called bad fortune, when in reality, they were patterns of your own shadow pulling you along? And how different would your life look if instead of being directed by the unconscious, you directed it yourself? This is the gift of shadow work. Not perfection, not purity, but power. The power to stop being ruled by hidden drives. The power to see clearly why you do what you do. The power to live as a whole being instead of a divided mask. But don't be fooled. This path is not comfortable. Integration is painful. It will cost you illusions you've lived with for years. It will shatter the image you've built of yourself as purely good, purely innocent, purely virtuous. It will force you to confront the parts of yourself you swore you didn't have. And it will change how others see you. People who were comfortable with your mask may not be comfortable with your authenticity. They may call you selfish, arrogant, different. But their discomfort is proof that you are no longer playing their game. You will lose some relationships. You will gain something far more valuable: self-respect. And with self-respect comes presence. The kind of presence that doesn't need to shout, doesn't need to beg, doesn't need to prove. The presence of someone who has walked into their own darkness and returned whole. This is why Jung said the best way to deal with the darkness of others is to know your own. Because once you have faced your own shadow, no one else's can terrify you. Once you have accepted your flaws, no one else's can control you. Once you have walked through your own depths, you can stand unshaken in the face of theirs. And the world desperately needs people like this. Not perfect people, not saints, but whole people. People who know both their light and their dark. Who no longer project their demons onto others. Who can stand in the storm of human chaos without being consumed by it. So ask yourself now, what parts of your shadow are you still running from? What parts of yourself have you disowned? Why do you hate, envy, or resent? Because they carry something you've buried in yourself. And more importantly, are you ready to stop running? Are you ready to turn toward the darkness within and make it conscious? Are you ready to stop calling it fate and start calling it yourself? Because that is where freedom begins. That is where wholeness begins. That is where life begins. Not in the endless chase for light, but in the courage to know your own darkness. Practical shadow work doesn't begin in theory. It begins in small, daily acts of awareness. The first step is observation. Start noticing your triggers. Pay attention to the moments when your reaction feels stronger than the situation demands. That flash of anger at a small insult, that wave of jealousy when someone succeeds, that stubborn resistance to feedback. These are the cracks where the shadow leaks through. Write them down. Keep a record. Because every strong reaction is a message from the part of you you've ignored. The second step is journaling. At night, sit with the emotions you felt during the day and ask, what did I feel? And why did I feel it? Don't filter, don't censor. Let the page hold the truths you've denied. Jung believed the unconscious speaks in symbols and images. So when you write without judgment, your shadow begins to reveal itself in metaphors, in recurring patterns, in words you didn't expect to write. The third step is dream work. Jung placed immense importance on dreams because they are the voice of the unconscious. Keep a notebook by your bed. The moment you wake, write down what you remember, even fragments. Look for themes, for archetypes, for repeated scenarios. The characters in your dreams, whether frightening, absurd, or alluring, are often pieces of your shadow dressed in costume. The fourth step is dialogue. When you identify a shadow trait, anger, envy, lust, fear, imagine speaking to it directly. Ask it what it wants, what it fears, what it needs. This may sound strange, but Jung often guided his patients through what he called active imagination, where they conversed with aspects of their psyche as if they were real. Because in a way, they are. They are real forces within you, and until you acknowledge them, they act in secret. The fifth step is expression. Shadow energy cannot remain trapped forever. You must give it form. This doesn't mean acting it out destructively, it means channeling it. Paint your anger. Dance your fear. Write your envy into a story. Sing your sadness. The point is not to display it to the world, but to release it in a form that honors it without letting it control you. And finally, the last step is integration. This means bringing what you've discovered into your daily life. If your shadow reveals suppressed ambition, admit your hunger for achievement and set goals without guilt. If it reveals repressed anger, learn to set boundaries calmly but firmly. If it reveals jealousy, recognize it as a signal of your own unclaimed desires and begin working toward them. Integration is not about eliminating the shadow, but about transforming its raw energy into conscious choice. This work will make people uncomfortable. Some will call you selfish. Some will say you've changed. That's just proof that you are on the right path, because you are no longer available for their projections. You are no longer playing the role they assigned you. You are becoming whole. Shadow work is not about perfection, it's about honesty. And it's about sitting with every part of yourself and saying, I see you. I accept you. I will not let you rule me from the dark. And once you do this, your darkness no longer owns you. It becomes your strength. So, if you want to know where to begin, begin here. With observation, with writing, with dreams, with dialogue, with expression, with integration. Small steps taken daily. Because knowing your own darkness is not a single revelation. It's a lifelong practice. And with each step, you reclaim more of yourself. If you have any thoughts on today's episode, I'd love to hear them. Leave me a message in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button for me and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.